Hello and welcome to today's geometry lesson. Today we're covering chapter 5 and lesson 6. So we have been talking about triangle congruence. And so far what we've had for triangle congruence is side, angle, side. And then we found out in 5.5 that side, side, side is a congruence. And then we found out hypotenuse leg. So hypotenuse leg means that we have a right triangle, otherwise we wouldn't have a hypotenuse. And what else? We also found out that if we had side, side, angle, that did not necessarily always work. So now today we're going to look through the lens of angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Notice that these both have two A's in them and then a side. Okay, the order of the letters is super important because this one is talking about the included angle. So we need to make sure that there's a difference between angle, side, angle and angle, angle, side. All right, so the first one we're looking at is saying that if two triangles, if I asked you all to grab a ruler and make this be 10 centimeters, if every single one of you made a segment 10 centimeters, and then on one side you put a 60-degree angle, and on the other side you put a 40-degree angle, it doesn't matter. When you connected this side and you connect this side and keep going, wherever they meet, these two sides end up being congruent to the other sides over here. So if someone flipped it and they made this 10 centimeters, okay, we start off with 10 centimeters, but they put the 40-degree angle on this side, whereas you put it on the 60-degree side, and then they made this one 60 degrees. When they connect this, when they make this side and they make this side and they connect, no matter what happens, you're going to get this side, EF, is going to be congruent to BC, and BA is going to be congruent to DE. And then, surprise, surprise, but when you measure this angle right here and you measure this angle right here, they will also be congruent. So what stipulations did we give you? An angle, the included side, and the other angle. So angle, side, angle. All right, so remember the letters are in a specific order. So in this particular case, we're giving you the included side. Okay. All right, and then the last one that we're going to talk about here is angle, angle, side. So if I give you two angles and one random side, okay, if you do angle, angle, and you do the other side, it doesn't matter. So if you were to make it here so that this was your single and this was your double, and then I told you this side right here, no matter what, whenever you connected to make this, the corresponding sides would then be congruent. So angle, angle, side. So going from one angle to another angle and then one of the sides. All right, so let's look at these triangles and see what we've got going here. So if we're looking at, let me see for this triangle right here, we have a single mark and a single mark. And then if we go look at this one right here, it also has a single mark and a single mark. Now, is there a third piece that we can get congruent? Can I get this angle congruent to that angle because they're vertical? So now what do we have? I have an angle, another angle, and then a side. And this one has angle, angle, side. So yes, these two triangles are congruent by angle, angle, side. All right, let's look at B. So it doesn't look like we have any sides congruent. We just have angle, angle, angle. Is that enough to prove that those two triangles are congruent? Well, let's think about an equilateral triangle. Can I make a little equilateral triangle where all the sides are the congruent? And can I make an equilateral triangle this way? So let's not even think about the sides. Think about all the angles being 60, all the angles being 60. Are they congruent just by getting the angles congruent? So this one is a big fat no. Angle, angle, angle does not work. All right, let's look at C. We have a single and a single angle mark, a double and a double, and then do we have this shared side between for reflexive? So it looks like we have a side and then an angle and then another, whoops, I wrote that wrong, sorry, angle, side, angle. So yes, this one does work. All right, you might want to stop the video here just for you to get the diagram and everything written down. So stop your video, get your given and stuff written down so that you have something to refer back to. All right, so let's start writing this proof. So the first thing that we have here is putting in the given, and I've already peeked ahead to know what's here, so I know that they're going to write this one first. Angle K is congruent to angle M. That is given. Now, I typically put all of my given in one statement. The way this proof was written is they wrote it in two separate ones, so it doesn't matter. You can do it either way. All right, so the second step is now we're going to put this information into your proof. So JL bisects angle KLM. All right, why did they give us? Why did they tell us that this segment right here is going to bisect this angle? What does that mean? Okay, it's bisecting an angle. So doesn't that mean that this angle right here is going to be congruent to this angle right here by definition of an angle bisector? Okay. So angle KLJ is congruent to MLJ, definition of an angle bisector. Now, there's nothing else in the given, but is there something else this diagram? Is this JL in both triangles? So is it congruent to itself by the reflexive property? All right, now what do we have here? I have a single angle. I have this angle and a side. So do we have one that goes from angle, angle, side? And it doesn't spell that bad word, so it looks like we're good. So our two triangles are going to be congruent by angle, angle, side. All right, here's a recap of all the methods that we have gone over. So there's two of them that we have found that do not work. So we did side angle side, and we've already taken a quiz on that. And then our first lesson in our new one was talking about these two right here. And then we were also talking about side, side, angle. Okay, so this is one where we have this side and an angle. And then how are we going to put this next side? So can put this here and your triangle. So this angle and this side. Now, where do we put that side? Okay, because sometimes we can take that and we can have this side come back here. And so we still have this side congruent. This angle is congruent. And now this red side going out this way is congruent to this one coming back in, but they are not congruent. That is why side-side angle does not work, because we could either go out or come in. So that is why side-side angle does not work. But hypotenuse leg does if we know that that angle is right. Because what happens is we get this, push this out, 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 and this one in. When it eventually meets and it comes down here at an exact right angle, then we know that it does work. Okay, and then the two new ones that we found today were angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Now what else we found out is that angle, angle, angle does not work because we could have a little equilateral triangle or a big one. So just saying they're all 60 degrees does not make them congruent. It makes them similar, but they are not congruent. All right, sometimes some math books are going to use hypotenuse angle, leg, and angle, leg. Do they work? Okay, we found out hypotenuse leg does work. So let's think about this. Hypotenuse and an angle. So what does this give us? An angle, and a side. So was angle, side one of the new ones that we learned today? So that's why hypotenuse angle will work. Okay, what about leg? Okay, so that specifically, not the hypotenuse, it's definitely this leg and this leg. Well, what do we have? Side, an angle, and a side. So isn't that one of the first ones that we learned? Side, angle, side. So yes, leg will work. Okay, and how about angle, leg? Okay, so it doesn't mean the right angle. It just means an angle. Whoops, need to go back to my marker. An angle and a leg. Well, now we have angle, side, angle. And so angle, side, angle does work. Okay, if we're only given two things, the right angle and one other thing, that's not enough. Okay, but they're never using this. They're using the fact that it is a right triangle and then two other things. So really, ultimately, they are telling you three things. Two is never enough. We do not have to use the hypotenuse angle, the leg, or the angle, leg. You can always use your three-letter acronyms. If you got fancy and told me hypotenuse angle or leg, that is totally fine. But remember, when you do that, you'd have to go from perpendicular lines to right angles, and then you have to say that you have a right triangle, then you can use these. So that's why a lot of kids don't like to use them, because you have to go through the process of making sure to say that you have a right triangle. If you don't say you have a right triangle, you can't use hypotenuse angle and just two things. So it's not really going down to two things, because you do have to stipulate in your proof that you have three things, because you have to stipulate that you have a right triangle. Okay, so I am totally fine with you just saying that it is all right angles are congruent and then using angle, side, or all right angles are congruent and using side, angle, side. So either way works for me. All right, I think that's the end. So we are at our homework time. So you are going to have some homework online, and then I want you to do the proofs on paper. So make sure you're paying attention that there are 2 assignments for today, online and writing your proofs on paper. Alrighty, good luck.